Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmitt with Stampin' with the Hounds. I have some really quick fun fold tutorials to share with you this week. I had my Christmas card club class earlier this week, and these were some of the projects that we had. And I had one member who unfortunately was sick, so I am making her projects today and doing a video so that she knows how to make them, and also just sharing with all of you as well. So this one is what's called a bridge fold card. It's been around for quite some time. It's really fun. It's a nice 3D card that stands up straight, and again it folds flat. What you do is you'll take this left part, and this is the part that you're folding, and then that's what fits inside your envelope. So as long as you don't go too crazy with your embellishments, it's a very thin card that folds flat. And then it does kind of pop up. You have to kind of shape it a little bit, but for the most part it will kind of pop up. So we're going to be making this one using some of the soon-to-be retired designer series paper, which is a walk in the forest. I just have scraps left of this. I finally went through an entire pack of paper during the Christmas season. And then we're also going to be using the stamp set and dies Forever Forest, which is in the mini catalog, and that is carrying over. It will be available online in the new year, so that was kind of fun. So let's get started. I'm going to share with you what the dimensions and everything are, and then show you how to assemble and put this together. But before I do that, I do want to share with you, so I did some other samples with, as you know, starting in the new year, Stampin' Up! Will have a new catalog, so starting January 4th, and also during January and February of 2024, we have Celebration. And this is one where you can get items for free with every $50 that you purchase before tax and handling. And then also, if you sign up as a demonstrator during Celebration, besides getting your starter kit for $99, which has $125 worth of product, you can also select, look what I have, the glass mat. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit here. This, we were able to pre-order it, but if you do sign up, this could be another option that you can get for free. And then they're hopefully, depending on their supplies, this will be made available later, way later. I'm not quite sure when, in the foreseeable future, but for people to purchase, but that's not a guarantee. So if you really want this, it would be, join my team, become a demonstrator, start sharing your creativity with others as well. So super enough, I love it. I have my other glass mat, but this one is really nice and big. It also comes with a little silicone mat that you can use to grip your stamp pads. You can use this to clean your blending brushes. You can mix ink. You can watercolor. You can just put a little bit of ink in there. These fit the little Stampin' Spot ink pads, fit right in there. And again, these are all just kind of like little palettes. Now, because it is white, do note it will stain with certain colors. But as long as you kind of rinse it out right away with some water, it'll be fine. And this is heat resistant, so again, you can emboss on it and it's not going to melt. So that's another kind of nice, and it sticks to that mat too. So like when you're stenciling, this would be another great thing to use to hold your stencils. It also comes with this really nice, what I call like a chamois. It reminds me, if you use our purple chamois for stamp cleaning, it's that same fabric, but it's not as thick. And I just use water. And so this stays damp for quite some time. And then you can just use this to wipe off your mat, and then just rinse it out with cold water. Now again, like the chamois, it will eventually stain, depending on what kind of inks you use. But as you can tell, mine is all pretty new yet, so I haven't stained it in yet. And then I also wanted to show you, so with some other of the bridge fold cards, these are using some of the new items from the 2024 mini catalog. And this is going to be the Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper, which is super pretty. So it's 12 by 12, and it's using colors that I'm not a purple person all the time, but this paper really kind of got me out of my comfort zone for coloring. So it's got that shaded spruce, the Highland Heather goes with it, gorgeous grape. There's also like pretty peacock. kind of the crumb cake, all kind of coordinate with it. So really, really fun. Probably a little bit of Lost Lagoon, maybe, depending on some of the papers. And then the other thing that I did for my bridge was these new dies. And again, you know, me and everything's a forest. We have another delicate forest dies. And these, I just love them. I haven't had a chance to play around with them too much, but it does have like this nice, remember, kind of grassy grove, that die. Now this does portrait, and so instead of the landscape like the grassy grove, this is the portrait. And then it's got some great little shapes for your sentiments. And then these are the borders that I use to make my bridge. So it does that sweeping hill, which is kind of neat. And then it has these little lavender or branches coming up. So there's kind of this taller one, and then there's this little shorter one. So here I did both of them on this one. So super fun. And then also with the bridge card, I am going to kick it up a notch because, you know, I love my shaker cards. I'm going to show you how to make this a flat shaker so it still can mail flat. And then the other thing that is in here is one of the other celebration items that you can get for free as a customer. If you purchase $100, you get the stamp set, Softly Sophisticated, and then this really cool embossing folder with it as well. That is a 3D one, so it's kind of fun. So those are all coming in January. Super excited. But let's get started. Love it. With making this bridge card. So we are first going to, let me get my supplies. All right. You will need, for your cardstock base, it's going to be 8 by 4 1/4. You're going to score at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 5 1/2, and 6 3/4. So I have already scored mine with it. But yeah, I'll just let you get a screenshot of that. So those are your measurements. Then what you're going to do is, you can see where the indentation is. That's what I'm going to fold on. So I'm going to go to the second one, and I'm going to fold in, and then I'm going to take this next one and fold back. So then you're getting that little kind of what I call like a Z almost on that left hand side. Then the same thing on the other side. You're going to go to that second score line, fold it in, and then take this other one and fold it back. And then now you've got the base of your card. Next, you are going to need, and you can change up how many patterns or strips of designer series paper you want. When I first did my original, I think on all these I did decorate them. On my first one, I was only putting the designer series paper on these 2 outside ones, but I've decided I'm going to start decorating those inside ones too. So you can either do 2 or you can do 4. And I'm doing, since I had scraps left over, I'm going to do 4 pieces, and there's 2 different designs, so 2 of each design, and these are cut at 1 by 4. And these are going to go, one will go here, one will go there, one will go here, and one will go there. So we're going to glue those down. And then with the glass mat, because I don't like getting adhesive on stuff, I still like to use my little silicone mat. You could also use this too. But I still like my little, see, I got glue right there. Doesn't take much. All right, so I'm going to put this on the outside. And again, these were 1 by 4. And if you want these to be, you know, a little bit bigger, you could do the like 1 1/8 by 4 1/8 if you don't want as wide of a cardstock border. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit here. Just need to maybe adjust my camera, sorry. There we go. All right, so there's that one. And then I'm going to do my next one. I'm going to alternate and do the trees. And then we're going to skip this for now. We're going to go ahead and do the trees again on this the left side. And then we'll do the snowflakes on the far left panel. Oops. All right. So there's that, super fun. Then for your back panel and the back of your cardstock, these are both the same size. This is going to be, again, for that greeting on the back. So neutral cardstock or color, whatever you want to do, because this is where you would stamp your greeting. These are going to be 2 3/4 by 4, and you just need 1. Then for your focal point, that's going to be back here on the card. This one, again, can be designer series paper, or if you want it to be cardstock, you can emboss it, whatever you want. But that piece, same thing, needs to be 2 3/4 by 4. But we're going to make this into a shaker card. So normally what I would do is I would just put this in here and then call it good. But I want to make this a shaker, and it's going to be a flat shaker. So I like to use up just old your packaging, like when you get your embellishments, you know, when you get your your pattern paper. Just keep these, and then it just needs to be cut so that it's probably, what is this, like, you know, about 1/2 inch larger, because you're just going to be folding this and making a little pouch for your sequins and stuff to fit into. So I like to, this is going to be our front, so I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to center this with my plastic. I don't know if you can see. So it's kind of centered. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut at an angle so that you're fairly close to the cardstock. I don't know if you can see that, or the paper, but that's cut at an angle. So you're going to do that on each of the 4 corners. So I'm just cutting at an angle, the plastic, making sure I'm not shifting it around too much. Cut this at an angle, and the last one, cut at an angle. All right, and then we're just going to close these up, 3 out of the 4, to make our pouch. So I just use just my normal, you know, adhesive. Now I have to make sure I can see. Okay, and then you're just going to bring this in, and then we're going to flip it, rotate it, and we're going to do the bottom. Bring this tab in. We're just making a little pouch. And then the other side, you're going to do the same thing. Put tape down. Make sure I got a little crooked here. Sorry. Hold on. There we go. And then bring, I need to trim this just a titch. All right, and then bring that in. So now you've got a pouch to put your sequins in. And oh, I forgot to do this. Sometimes I like to glue my embellishments, a few on there, just so that it always has, you know, some bling at the top. And I think we're just going to try it here. We'll see if I can get in there really quick with some glue. I might just use a glue dot. I think that's what I'll do. because then I can kind of poke that in there. See, I even had a note. I had to remind myself to put these down first. Oh, I just have to find my glue dots. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of my, and these were in the clearance rack just recently. You got it was a 3-pack. So there's like a blue, a green, and a pink. And then it has these little, I can pick it up, half pearls. Let's see if I can do this. Not the sequins. So see how these are like they're half pearls? So you can put adhesive on the back of these. I think those are, oh, there they go. So I'm just going to put a little glue dot on the back of this. And then I can reach into my pouch here and just plop a couple of these on so that I always have some bling at the top of my shaker. Totally optional. This is just me and my bling. It's a Linda thing. Okay. And then we'll flip this over. And then we'll put one more in here. Okay, so now those are always going to be at the top, at least. And then you can just take your sequins and either using a spoon, like a little funnel. I've got this little spoon kind of scoop thing that I picked up a while ago. I just kind of like it because then I don't make too bad of a mess. So then we'll just pour in some of our sequins. And I usually kind of close it a little bit, and then I just give it a shake and just see, is it too much? Do I need a little bit more? But I think that's just perfect. I'm also going to, because I had a little bit of these left over, and these two were on the clearance rack just recently. They were the little snowflake sequins. So I'm going to pick some of these up so that So we'll do just a little bit of these. So these are kind of snowflakes and some iridescent sequins and some silver sequins. We'll just throw a few of those in there. There we go. So once that is in, again, I just kind of double check it, make sure it looks good. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to seal this again to close my shaker. So now your entire pouch is closed. And then I like to use tear and tape on the back of this to attach it to the center of my bridge card here. So I'm just going to put tear and tape on the back. Yeah, I have to laugh. So, you know, I'm in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, if you can't tell by my accent. I did not grow up in Minnesota, but oh my gosh, I've been here long enough. I got the accent, according to my family. And we have no snow. It's this is like this time last year, it was a blizzard. We had like 8 inches of snow that came, and it was super, super cold. And so now, I mean, we have no snow, and it's going to be in the 50s. I'm like, I love it. So this is probably the first time since I've lived here, oh my gosh, what is it, 30 some years, no snow at Christmas. So I got to make it with my shaker cards. All right, so that's all off. And then make sure your paper is upright. It's going to be our top and bottom. So now this is just going to go right in the center. And now you've got the little shaker. All right, now we're going to make the bridge. So for the bridge part, oh, and then we'll decorate this. I'll do that in a little bit. That's the back. Your bridge pieces, I die cut the mountains from the Forever Forest bundle, and I did 2 of them. You do like to have 2 pieces. So what if you're doing, whether it's a die, whether it's just cut cardstock, the length of that cardstock has to be 5.5 inches to make it work when you close the card to mail it, because when this is closed to go in the envelope, this is the 5.5. So that bridge needs to be at least 5.5 inches. And then width-wise, you know, you can do whatever you want. If you're just cutting cardstock, you know, if you're using like a sentiment, have it be like maybe 1 inch wide or 1 1/4. And then I like to double layer it just to give that bridge a little bit more stability, because if you just have the 1 piece of cardstock, it is a little flimsy. So I like to do the 2 layers at least with it. So of those 2 layers, like I said, the 1 has to be 5.5. So with the mountains, my white one, the length is 5.5 inches, and then my blue one, I cut it to be 5.5, but we're going to actually trim this down, because what I like to do is offset my mountains a little bit, so you've got that 2 dimension, and this part here will get cut off when I go to assemble it. But I want to do a couple of things first on my mountains just to kick them up a notch. And so again, just make sure that length is going to be 5.5 for your pieces. So on the white piece, I'm going to do a little bit of the Wink of Stella. And this is just, I got to make sure it's, here we go. This is like a brush that's got glitter in it. And I am just going to be putting the glitter on this recessed part. I don't know if you can see that, of the die. So just on the mountain caps, I'm just going to put a little bit of Wink of Stella just to give my mountain some glittery snow. So I'll do that on each one of these. And then on the blue piece, the Balmy Blue cardstock, I'm going to show you how you can do the little flecks of snow with the white craft ink. And I've done that before in a few of my videos just to kind of give that splattering effect. So we'll do that on the blue. All right, so that, I don't know if that'll pick up or not, but see, it's got a little bit of that glimmer now. And what's nice about this is it dries and it doesn't leave a mess. So that's the 5.5. So we're going to set that one aside. Now for the Balmy Blue, we're going to take our white craft ink refill and an acrylic block. I have an older water painter that I just keep for this technique because it does kind of gunk up your bristles a little bit. So I just keep, this is just, I use it just for this technique. So I'm going to take my white craft ink refill. I'm going to put a dab of it on my acrylic block. You can also, if you want, actually we'll just do that now so I don't gunk up my block. We will use our little silicone, our new one. Let me get this out of the way. That comes with the glass mat. So I'm going to put a little bit of this craft ink in my palette. And then I am going to clear some things out of the way because when you do the splatter, it does kind of make, it does go everywhere. So just make sure your card is set aside so that you're not getting it all over your other stuff. Okay, so we're going to take and pick up some of the ink. So what's on there? And I'm just adding just a titch of water. I don't want it too runny because then it just doesn't give you the good splattering. And then when you go to splatter, I just take my bone folder and I'm going to be hitting it. So I'm keeping, I don't know if you can see this, I'm keeping my pen more at, so it's not straight. I mean, it's at an angle. And I'm about, you know, probably 4 inches or so from my paper. And I'm just, you know, 3 to 4 inches, because you don't want to be down here really close, because when you hit it, your brush will divot and then you'll hit it'll be a big avalanche on your mountains. So I'm just tapping it. And the harder you tap it, the more splattery it'll get. Is that a word? Splattery? All right, let me just, if you can see that, I can zoom in just a little bit. So I'll pick up some more. And so now you've got that cool snow effect on that balmy blue cardstock. So you can do this on any colored cardstock. It's just kind of fun. All right, we're going to set that aside to dry. Then what I do is I just rinse this off. Where did my, oh, here it is. I just use my chamois and I just kind of keep a little spot in the corner just for this craft ink. And then when I get done at the end of my day of stamping or whatever, I just rinse this out with water. And then periodically I will throw this in the washer in a laundry bag or lingerie bag, and then just a delicate cycle just to clean it and kind of freshen it up so it kind of doesn't have that funky smell. And then you can just take your cloth, clean up your silicone mat, and then we'll get this out of the way. And then I'm going to just give this a quick shot with the heat tool, just because it's still a little damp and I don't want to smear it. So we'll give it a real quick shot. Okay, so now there's all of your snow. All right, so now we're going to go back and grab our white mountains. And then we're going to attach these behind. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my white. And then I'm just going to lay my blue behind. And then I'm just going to kind of look at it and decide how I want to off-center my blue. Let's see here. Yeah. I think I will kind of go about there. And I'm keeping, or I try to keep it, I mean, it doesn't matter, I mean, because you would have to trim it off, but I'm keeping them both flush at the bottom. Okay, so that'll look good. So again, this part, the blue, is going to get cut off. All right, so now those are kind of put together. You want to take your card, and when you go to assemble this, you're keeping this side open and this side bent in, okay? Because you're going to put adhesive, move this up a little bit. You're going to put adhesive here, attach your mountain, and then you'll put adhesive here, and then you'll attach the edge of that white, and then we will trim this part off. So making sure, so here I've got a smaller, you know, edge, so I don't want to go real crazy thick with my adhesive, but I think my tear and tape should be, yeah, should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this right on the bottom. And I like to use a stronger adhesive just because you don't want this bridge part falling off. And then this one doesn't matter because it's a little bit wider. So now I'm going to put the tear and tape on the end of the right panel. And like I said, we're going to keep this one closed. And you're going to attach just so that this is flush with the end of your card, flush with the end of the side. Okay, so now that's attached. Okay, so keeping this side closed, keeping this side open, you're going to remove this adhesive here and then attach this down. So again, closed, open, and just line this up, move it over, and then we're just going to flip it over and we're going to trim off that blue that's hanging off. And then now you've got your bridge. And then I like to step it up and add some dimension. So I'm going to add my tree. We're going to add our other trees, which I probably should have stuck those down first. But I can still tweak them in there. It'll be fine. And then we're going to add our little bear. So the trees, again, because I want to have a little bit of stability, I'm doing two pieces and I'm going to glue them together. So this is just garden green, and these are die cut from the Forever Forest dies. And I'm just using a fine tip glue. You can also use like a sponge and put your glue on the sponge and then dab it onto your really delicate dies. That works as well too. All right, and then, oh, I put this on the wrong one. Oh well, that's fine. This one was texturized, but oh well, it is what it is. It'll just be, I'll just have the normal green showing. I had some old textured garden green paper. It was like 12 by 12. It was in my scrap drawer. So I was like, oh, okay. So now those are glued together, gave it a little bit of stability. And then we're just going to tuck this right behind. So all I'm going to do is just put glue or tape. And again, it needs to be a really thin layer. So you can either use your liquid glue. I do have some really narrow kind of tear and tape. So it's just going on the front of the tree. And then all I'm going to do is just attach this. Actually, I'm going to bump this down just a little bit. I went a little too high on my tape. We'll go right about there. So now that's attached behind. Still folds flat, doesn't impede. And then let's add our other trees. And so on these, I think I'll be able to kind of tuck these underneath that hill or the mountain. And again, these trees, these are all from the Forever Forest bundle. And that again is going to be carrying over, so it'll be available online. That tucked in there, not a problem. And then we'll attach the other one. And this, the Forever Forest dies, there's like a bunch of trees, which I love, and they're all like different sizes. So it's really a fun set. As you can tell, I've done a lot of, I've used it in almost like all of my videos this holiday season. I just really I like trees. All right, we'll just tuck that right underneath there so that didn't have any issues at all. And those are taped. All right, and then we will real quick decorate our back. So again, this was that 2 3/4 by 4, and I'm just going to decorate my back. So same thing. Oh, and I got to put my bear on too. So from that forest die, we got a little baby tree and then a little, what I call like a mountain, or it can be a rock. There is some, I probably shouldn't have cleaned my white gel or my crafting, because I could have used that to paint this, but I'm just using a white gel pen, and I'm just going to color this in just so it looks like I've got the snow on the mountain. But again, you could have used that white crafting to color this in as well. Or your Wink of Stella, whatever your heart desires. And then I'm going to use a saying. This is actually a retired saying from last year, Greatest Journey, but it was a perfect saying because it's mountains of thanks. So with the photopolymer, I do like to use a foam mat just to give a little bit of cushion. Make sure I don't. Got a little bit extra ink on my block. I'm just wiping it off. So this is pecan pie. On my original sample, I did Pretty Peacock, but I thought I would just change it up a little bit. So I'm just going to stamp my saying. And then I'll just glue my little tree and my mountain. I always like my little sceneries that I make with these dies. Let's see here. So I want, yeah, we'll just do that right about there. And then same thing, put a little bit of glue on my baby tree. And then this will get glued then to the back side of the card. So we'll flip this over. Now there's the back, and then I wanted to add my little bear. So this was from, gosh, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, the Arctic Bears die set and stamp set. I just kept it because I like my little bears. And this was some of our old velveteen paper that we used to sell. But otherwise, you could just use like pecan pie, and you could like run it through a folder to give it some texture. I did make this a sticker earlier, just so that it'll just peel off. I just use the sticker sheets. Sometimes I do that on my smaller dies. So then he's all stuck on there. And then the last thing I wanted to add is a few more blings. So I've got some of these glossy dots, and I'm just going to do one of each size in that balmy blue color. So we'll do one here. I like these gems that are a little, they're not as pointy, I guess. They're a little bit, you know, they're not as high, I guess. So that when you mail them, you're not having to put like an extra sheet of sometimes I'll put like a protective covering, like a really thin piece of cardstock, just to kind of protect the gems so they don't poke through the envelope, and the, you know, mail carrier doesn't have a hissy fit about, oh, it's too thick. So anyway, that is the bridge fold. So super fun. Again, the ideas are endless on what you can do. You know, whether you add that added bonus of the shaker. Again, can you do like a focal point, do another shaker, it's all about the shakers. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I've got 2 more tutorials from my card class from this week that I'll be sharing with you shortly. So be sure to check them out. All right. Thanks again, and have a great and creative day. Bye-bye.